Yo, what's good? We have another reaction video. This one is called How a Spirit Chooses Next Parents and Soulmate After Death, simply explained by Awakening Wisdom. I'm gonna like his video, drop a like on my video, subscribe if you're new. I do want to say this real quick. As far as choosing next parents and soulmate, a spirit does do that. It kind of depends on there's a few dependencies. When it says chooses a soulmate though, I would switch this term to divine counterpart because a soulmate is simply just someone which your soul has made it with, usually in a past life. So you could actually have multiple soulmates, but like you could have like one divine counterpart though. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's see what they say, see what I agree with. If I don't agree, you know what I'm saying? I do know a little bit about this topic, so that's why I want to see if I agree or not.
Do you know where our spirit go when we die?
Well, it could go many
What if
places.
your death is an illusion and the
Partially.
real you has never been born, never died, and never truly existed in the way you think?
Ah, okay.
The truth is, you've already died countless times. What you fear isn't
Yeah.
death itself, but the unknown path your soul takes afterwards.
That is facts.
If you fail to recognize the luminous light at death, you'll be trapped in an endless cycle of birth and death.
That's
Heaven and hell aren't external places, they're states of consciousness.
that's partially true. I mean, you're not really forced to reincarnate. You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of have a choice. It's just now here's what happens though. If you feel like, let's say like you did like some very horrible shit while you were alive, right? You'll feel so bad that it's like you kind of just have to choose to come back, but you still chose to do it. You just felt so bad that it feels like there was no choice but to come back. That's kind of how it is. Like you always choose to come back. It's just that. Like also another example, if you're attached to physical reality and stuff like that, then you're gonna always want to come back because a party is attached. Like you still get to choose. It's just that you're more likely to choose to come back if you're attached to the shit that you can experience on Earth. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, in heaven and hell are states of consciousness, but there are heavenly places and heavenly places after death too. I do want to say that.
You will experience after death based on these things.
That is true.
These are the secrets we will uncover as you will experience.
Let's bring that back.
Heaven and hell aren't external places, they're states of consciousness you will experience after death based on these things.
Yes, but that state of consciousness will take you to a certain dimensional space that may be hellish or heavenly.
These are the secrets we will uncover in a minute. For millennia, death has been called the great unknown. But death is not a mystery, it's a passage. Imagine consciousness itself, transcending the physical body, unfazed by the end of flesh and blood. It is the soul's awakening, the moment when the spark within us is freed from its earthly shell. The Tibetans saw death not as an end, but as a continuation, a path back to the source of all being. And that source is you. Through death, the soul enters states of profound mystery, called the Bardos, hidden realm, where the very fabric of existence unfolds. In mystical traditions, death is rarely seen as a cessation. It is instead understood as a transition, a movement of consciousness from one state to another.
Indeed.
Much like the metamorphosis of a caterpillar into a butterfly. Death is a shedding of the old and a birth into a new form of existence.
Yes, sir.
Mystics and sages throughout history have described death as a journey across a sacred threshold, leading the soul from the dense physical world into subtler realms where it can undergo further experiences.
Well, I know it's crazy. Even though people know this, they can still be scared of death because people kind of just hear these things, right? People just hear people say this, but unless they have a true experience of that, they could still have fear. It don't really matter how much wisdom you hear from other people, unless you partially experience it for yourself. You'll probably still have some kind of fear and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even inside the Bible, I'm not even a Christian, but in the Bible, Paul definitely said that you shouldn't trust. Like you shouldn't build faith off of a man's wisdom, but rather build faith off the power of God. Now, what that really means, right, is the fact that you can't build faith of what other niggas say. You need to actually experience the energy. You need to actually have experiences of the spiritual plane for yourself. You need to actually experience the power of the Most High, of Source, of Spirit, of your own spirit. You know what I'm saying? Unless you experience these things, it's kind of hard to have faith, even if you're being taught this shit 1,000 times.
Purifications, and learning. In esoteric philosophy, death is described as a return, a pilgrimage back to the source. This return allows the soul to shed the material burdens accumulated over a lifetime and return to its essence, a pure consciousness that exists beyond space and time. The cycle of birth and death, or samsara, is a process of refinement, Each death is an opportunity to evolve spiritually, to approach closer to the ultimate realization of one's true nature, and to break free from the cycle of reincarnation, known as the Wheel of Samsara. According to many ancient texts, including the Tibetan Book of the Dead, consciousness is not merely a product of the brain or physical body. It is a universal principle, an eternal spark that connects every living being to a vast cosmic intelligence. In this view, consciousness survives physical death and remains intact, journeying through various planes of existence. Mystical traditions often describe consciousness as the soul or spirit, a boundless awareness that
So look, your soul and your spirit are different, right? Your soul is an individualized focal point of awareness which focuses on the lifetime which you're currently in. So your like the awareness that observes this life, that's the soul. Your spirit is an infinite, eternal awareness and energy which could split itself off into multiple different focal points of awareness, aka souls. So your spirit is eternal, right? But because it's eternal, it can exist inside multiple places at once. In order to focus on one place in particular, it creates a soul. And then that soul will observe this one piece of existence while the spirit could be fucking everywhere. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah.
transcends the temporary and material nature of the physical form. This enduring essence of consciousness is what travels through different realms or states after death. Mystics believe that consciousness is an infinite field and that life itself is an expression of this field manifesting temporarily in physical form. The death experience is simply consciousness withdrawing from the physical shell to re-emerge in its pure form.
Yeah.
But what is the purpose of knowing what happens after death? For ancient cultures, understanding death was as crucial as understanding life itself. Death is not merely a topic of curiosity, but a profound means to understand the nature of existence and purpose. The Tibetan Book of the Dead, along with other mystical texts, serves as a guide for the dying process, designed to assist the soul in achieving liberation and avoiding the pitfalls of fear, attachment, and ignorance that bind it to further cycles of birth and death.
Yeah.
Preparation for death is considered essential, as the mindset and consciousness at the moment of death are believed to have a significant impact on the soul's journey beyond. By mastering an awareness of death, individuals can become liberated from the fear of it.
That is true, but you also need to experience. That's why when you would actually read these texts, you would also uptake certain spiritual practices. One of the biggest ones being leaving your body. You know what I'm saying? When you leave your body, you kind of understand that death is an illusion, you know, because you kind of have like a mini death when you leave your body. You know what I'm saying?
Achieving an inner freedom that enhances the spiritual journey, both in life and in the afterlife. Bardo, it means between. In Tibetan mysticism, Bardo means intermediate state or in-between state. The Bardo refers to various transitional realms that the soul navigates not only after death, but also during other transitional moments in life. Each Bardo serves as an opportunity for transformation, growth, and transcendence. The Bardo is a place of liminality, a moment when the usual boundaries of time, identity, and materiality are suspended, allowing the soul to perceive reality from a broader, more profound perspective. There are different types of Bardo states. The Tibetan Book of the Dead outlines 6 Bardos, each corresponding to a stage of consciousness that presents a unique set of experiences and opportunities for liberation. The very first state of the Bardo states is the natural Bardo of this life. This is the Bardo experienced during our waking life, where we are actively shaping our consciousness and karmic patterns. This stage offers the most profound opportunity for preparation, as it allows us to work with our consciousness directly through meditation, ethical living, and detachment. The second state of the Bardo states is the painful Bardo of dying. This is the stage when the soul begins to separate from the physical.
Okay, but what does that have to do with the title of this video? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Physical body. This Bardo marks the beginning of the soul's.
Because I've learned about these, but I'm just like, okay, can you get to the point about choosing your parents and soulmate?
Journey, where each element, earth, water, fire, air, and space, dissolves, and the individual begins experiencing detachment from physical sensations. It is a time of powerful visions and sensations, often described as challenging and disorienting. As the final moments of life approach, Tibetan teachings describe a journey through dissolution, a gradual unraveling of the body, mind, and self. This process unfolds like a sequence of doorways, each opening into a more subtle realm of awareness as the physical body fades and the energetic core begins its release. Here, death is not simply an end, but a profound mystical passage. The journey begins with the earth dissolving into water. The body, once strong and steady, now feels frail. Strength slips away and a sense of weight and gravity overtakes it, as if the person is sinking or being gently compressed. This heaviness, however, is not merely physical. It is the body's farewell to the stability it has always known. As water dissolves into fire, bodily fluids dry up, and a growing thirst signals the start of this inner drought. Warmth begins to fade from the hands, feet, and face, slowly retreating inward. The individual may feel a dimming, as if life itself were withdrawing, moving closer to the center. Next, fire dissolves into air, and here warmth fully departs the body. A coolness settles, and with it visions may come. Flickering lights, sparks, or vague, undulating shapes that float before the mind's eye. It is as though the inner fire, the spark of life, is surrendering itself, leaving only a gentle breath. With the fading of air into space, breathing becomes shallow, light as a whisper. Thoughts and sensations drift, scattered like leaves on a windless day. In these moments, the mind begins to sense a vast emptiness, an all-encompassing quiet. As perceptions blur, a sense of boundless space expands, as if the self is slowly melting into the great unknown. Finally, space dissolves into pure consciousness, and all that remains is awareness, bare and boundless. Freed from the body, the mind, and identity itself, this consciousness is described as a luminous, radiant presence. It is an opening, a last, precious gateway into the realm beyond form. Tibetan wisdom teaches that this moment is sacred, a threshold where the consciousness can perceive its truest nature, luminous and vast. For those trained in these teachings, death is not feared, but approached with deep reverence as an opportunity for liberation. If, in these fleeting moments, one can recognize the light of pure awareness, they may transcend the cycle of rebirth and suffering, merging with an endless, profound peace. This is the ultimate passage, a journey of transformation through dissolution, where what remains is a glimmer of the eternal. Before we continue, please
No, like my video though. Alright, bro, we back.
Before we continue,
Come on, just say
please
it.
like and share this video.
Like my video, gang. Hey.
The third state of the Bardo states is the luminous Bardo of Dharmata. In this Bardo, the soul encounters the clear light of reality, a pure, non-dual light that represents the ultimate truth. Here, the potential for liberation is highest. If the soul can recognize this light as its own nature, it can achieve instantaneous liberation. However, if it does not recognize it, it moves into more differentiated visions of peaceful and wrathful deities. In the Tibetan teachings, the luminous Bardo of Dharmata unfolds as a realm of pure light, a stage in the journey after death where the soul confronts the very essence of reality itself. Here, the clear light, a radiant, non-dual awareness, emerges as the ultimate truth. It is vast, formless, and free from the illusion of identity, a light so pure that it transcends all worldly constraints. For those who are prepared, this light is not an external phenomenon, but the reflection of their own deepest nature, a gateway to enlightenment itself. At this threshold, liberation can occur in an instant. Should the soul recognize the clear light as its own true essence, freedom from the cycle of birth and death is realized, and the soul is liberated. But this recognition is not so simple. It requires complete detachment from the habits, thoughts, and attachments that have accumulated over lifetimes. Fear, often born of the unknown, must be overcome, and the mind must remain.
Nigga, fuck fear. Nigga, what about lust? What about physical pleasure? What about physical happiness? What about relationships? You know what I'm saying? Those are the things that really start to stump you. You know what I'm saying? Fear is a big thing, but Nigga, fuck the fear. There's many things you could only experience in the physical. You must let go of those things too. You know what I'm saying? All the bonds that you made, all the friends and family that you have and stuff like that, all that shit.
Open, unclouded by the illusions it has created. For most, however, the Dharmata Bardo is not so clear. As the clear light begins to fade, the soul often experiences vivid visions, deities both peaceful and wrathful. These are not external entities, but symbolic reflections of the soul's own.
Thank you! Thank you. Fuck. I hate when niggas act like deities are actual beings, bro.
Karma, emotions, and consciousness. These figures are projections of the mind, and through them, the soul is given an opportunity to recognize the nature of its own illusions. Each vision, whether serene or fearsome, is a reflection of the soul's internal state and a chance to release the patterns that bind it. Yet this is not an easy task. The primary obstacles in this bardo are fear, ignorance, and attachment. When the clear light fades, many souls fall into confusion, unable to see the light for what it truly
My
is.
bad.
Instead, they become trapped in their own projections, drawn back into the cycles of rebirth, repeating old patterns of suffering. The teachings of the Tibetan Book of the Dead offer guidance in these moments, prayers and instructions to remind the soul to let go, to see these visions as nothing more than illusions of the mind, and to return to the radiant awareness that is always present. The fourth state of the bardo states is the karmic bardo of becoming. If liberation is not attained in the Dharmata bardo, the soul enters the bardo of becoming, where it is drawn to rebirth. This stage is governed by karmic forces, and the soul is pulled toward new parents and circumstances based on its past actions.
All right. I agree with that. I agree that because that's why I said it depends on many things, right? Because you could choose your next life. You could kind of pick. You could pick how your next life goes if you die with a high level of awareness. If you still have built up karma and stuff like that, your next lifetime is going to be made based upon your karma. You know what I'm saying? Literally. What's your karma? Your past thoughts, emotions, actions, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? So if you are attached to being raised a certain kind of way, you'll be born with parents that raise you in that kind of way. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's not the healthiest, because you may just be used to that. You're attached to that way of living and that way of being raised. You know what I'm saying? So I can agree with that.
And unresolved attachments. The journey through the karmic bardo of becoming is an intricate dance of energies, a process where the soul is drawn into its next incarnation by the powerful pull.
Now, however, if you die and you have like a high level of awareness, right? You can choose to come back, and now at this point, you have more control over the life that you get born inside of. So it really just depends on how much awareness you die with. You know what I'm saying?
Of its past actions, thoughts, and intentions. This realm, shaped by karma, is not simply a place of judgment, but a space where the soul continues its evolution, guided by the unseen forces of its own past. As the soul leaves the physical body, it enters a state where it is magnetically attracted to realms that mirror the frequency of its accumulated karma. The forces at work in this bardo are not random, but are deeply tied to the purity or distortion of the soul's intentions over countless lifetimes. A soul that has acted with compassion, love, and truth is gently drawn toward higher, more harmonious planes of existence, where peace and spiritual growth are more readily accessible.
Facts.
Conversely, a soul that has been driven by fear, hatred, or ignorance is pulled into denser realms, where suffering persists not as a punishment, but as a catalyst for learning and transformation.
Facts.
The Tibetan teachings reveal that this pull is not about retribution, but about the soul's need to confront unresolved energies and continue its journey toward liberation.
Facts.
In the karmic bardo, the subtle mind of the deceased is surrounded by vivid mental impressions, samskaras, that echo the desires, fears, and attachments from past lives. These impressions become like seeds, carrying the karmic energies of unresolved emotions, relationships, and experiences, attachments to loved ones, material wealth, or fleeting pleasures from the previous life. Pull the soul back into circumstances where these desires may be realized once more,
Facts.
though often in a way that cannot provide lasting fulfillment.
Facts.
These desires become binding forces, trapping the soul in the cycle of rebirth and keeping it tethered to the unresolved past. As the soul progresses through this state, it begins to encounter visions of potential parents, images shaped by the soul's karmic resonance. These are not random encounters but luminous impressions, reflecting the vibrational qualities of both the soul and the parents it is drawn to. At this point, the soul has some semblance of choice, though it is often constrained by the gravitational pull of its own karma.
And that's what I was saying right there. If you have a high level of awareness, right, your karma's not gonna be pulling you to certain shit. You know what I'm saying? But if you're not really that aware, and you're getting influenced by your karma, it's gonna be like what he's saying. You're gonna like just be kind of pulled. You know what I'm saying? And you're not gonna have much control over it.
The soul may feel a magnetic attraction or an aversion to certain parents, based on the karmic patterns it still needs to resolve. However, advanced souls, those who have achieved spiritual awareness, may have more agency in this process, consciously choosing the conditions that will most effectively aid their journey toward liberation. Yet, even as the soul approaches...
Not gonna lie, I fuck with this video heavy so far. Y'all niggas know I'm quick. I'm real quick to be like, that don't sound fully right, or I wouldn't have said it like that. But this video right here, fuck with it, bro.
...approaches its new birth, there remains a veil of forgetfulness, a natural barrier that erases the conscious memory of past lives. This veil is often seen as merciful, allowing the soul to engage fully in its current life without the burdens of past...
And that's true too. Niggas be hating the veil. Niggas be hating the veil that gets placed on us or whatever the fuck, right? Nigga, that shit is for your benefit. Cause niggas be saying, oh, they're my past lives, all the cool shit that happened. What about all the bullshit that happened? What about all the bullshit? You wanna know the bullshit too? You gonna be focused on all the bullshit, and now what the fuck you got going on right now inside this life? Then you gonna be cooked. The fuck you mean?
...traumas or unresolved experiences. Without this forgetfulness, the soul could be overwhelmed by the weight of its history, preventing it from fully embracing the lessons of the present incarnation. But the veil is not absolute. In moments of deep introspection, in dreams or in flashes of intuition, hints of past lives may emerge, offering glimpses of unresolved karma or latent abilities carried over from previous incarnations.
That is true. Y'all niggas don't know my past lives.
Spiritual practices such as meditation can also help pierce through the veil, allowing advanced practitioners to access...
But peep, I only pierced through the veil when I was ready for it. I ain't gonna lie. If I was like younger, if I was still in school, going through my past life shit, bro, that shit would have been horrible. I would have been not focused on my schoolwork, bro. Nigga, that shit would have been horrible, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
This past life memory.
Probably would have been crashing out in school. Fuck you mean?
Memories and insights that guide their spiritual evolution. The karmic bardo of becoming is a realm of both mystery and opportunity. It is the space where the soul is continually drawn toward its next incarnation by the invisible forces of karma, where it encounters visions of potential parents and begins to experience the subtle energies that shape its future. In this journey, the soul is both guided and constrained by its past, but it is always moving towards an eventual reunion with its truest, highest nature. The fifth state of the bardo states is the bardo of dream. This refers to the intermediate state experienced in sleep, which mirrors death in its experience of temporary separation from the body. Dream practice as part of bardo training is used as preparation, teaching one how to recognize the illusory nature of existence and achieve lucidity.
That is true.
The sixth and last state of the bardo states is the bardo of meditation. This bardo pertains to the meditative states one can achieve in life, where a practitioner experiences the clear light of awareness and the dissolution of egoic boundaries. In advanced meditation, individuals can experience states that mimic the post-death bardos, which helps them prepare for the actual experience of death.
I want to watch both of these, especially this one. What the fuck?
Our journey can...
Alright, that's it. Now this was a pretty... I'm not gonna lie, bro. This nigga was spitting facts, bro. I can't even cap. He definitely did his research. Not sure if he has experience of this type of stuff. I kind of have like astral learning that goes with this and astral experience that goes with this. But nah, this shit was valid. This shit was valid. Drop a like on my video. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe if you're new. I love you. Catch my next video. Peace to freak out. Hey.